Go out.
Peace, everyone, and I am back. I told you all I'll be back in about 25-30 minutes, and I am here. We have Mfudishi on the show. I told you all he's going to be here. I've been bragging about it for like the past 3 weeks that he will be on the show, and African spirituality on this show today, and a couple other things as far as his martial arts goes, health and wellness, and some more stuff. But I want to introduce him. If you don't know who he is, you better find out today, all right, by tuning in. And I know y'all see me going live. Every time I go live, y'all want to tune in and see what I'm talking about. So tune in now and get some of this knowledge from the elder Mfudishi. Peace.
I'm Uja Seneb Neb Dua.
Yes. How are you?
Eker.
Oh, now tell us what that means.
Absolutely excellent. Eker means excellent in Medunecha. Ankh Uja Seneb Neb means I give you life. I hope you have prosperity, and I hope you have good health. And so it's a Medunecha, ancient Kemetic spiritual saying. It's a greeting as well as a farewell. So I can greet you with Ankh Uja Seneb Neb. And when I leave, I say Ankh Uja Seneb Neb. But I'd also probably say Aha Tu. Aha Tu means protect yourself, take care of yourself, defend yourself. And when we're living amongst a hostile enemy, you need to take care of yourself.
How did you learn how to decipher the Medunecha like that?
Well, you know, when I graduated from college, I was in Africana studies. So I was just, when I called myself, when I graduated undergraduate at Norfolk State in Virginia, I was just studying African culture. And I wasn't like particular to any country. Tanzania is the country my father is from, but I was embracing the whole continent of Africa, you know, from Yoruba to Ashanti Tree to Wolof to South Africa, Zulu. I was just studying all of Africa. And I was the first teacher of an independent African school in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And it was named after Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. So it was called Nyerere Educational Institute. And I was the history teacher, and I was teaching Kiswahili. So I was teaching Kiswahili and history to all the students there. And we brought in Dr. Joseph Ben Yakimen for assembly for all of the kids. And I didn't really know Dr. Ben at this time, even though I was a historian. He had just came out with his book, Black Man in the Nile and His Family. And I got this book and I heard Dr. Ben, and this was like 1975. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm zeroing into Kemet. Kemet, I need to focus on a specific area where I can go back and record the oldest records of man. You see, everything else has been tampered with. You have colonization. So what we see in West Africa is an effect of colonization. Even in East Africa and in South Africa, the Europeans have come in and contaminated our original art. But Dr. Ben said, if you can read the hieroglyphics, the Medunecha, then you can talk directly to the ancestors. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need somebody in between translating for you. So I began to study and absorb ancient Kemet the way you drink water. I mean, I was in it every day. You know, you got to drink water every day to survive. I was like every day, I was Kemet. Anything I could read on Egypt. And then in 1980, I met Dr. Jacob Crothers from Chicago, one of the co-founders of ASCAT, the Association for the Classical Study of African Civilization. He's the first president. He had just met with Diop, Diop in Senegal, who was one of the greatest Egyptologists in the world. And Diop told my teacher, if you're not learning the Medunecha and studying ancient Kemet, you're not even serious about African history.
Right.
So when he told me that, you didn't have to tell me twice. You know, I just jumped right in it. And then his student, Sister Riketi Amon, who actually lives now in Mississippi, but she's from Chicago, started teaching Medu Neter, and she taught a class at City College in New York. So I took her class, and I never stopped. The first class, there was about 80 of us. Second semester, there was about 40 of us. Third semester, we're intermediate students, there was like less than 20 of us. When I got to the advanced class, there was like about 8 of us. Then there was an advanced class, got down to like 4 or 5 of us. And then it got to a point where it was just me in her living room, in her kitchen, taking Medu Neter. So that's how serious I was about learning this language. So now I'm one of the main scholars of the world in the Medu Neter. I sit on the board with some dynamic people who have mastered this language. And we are making our own translations. We are reinterpreting history because our ancestors left this language for us. You see, before there were Asiatic civilization, before there was the Greeks and the Romans, Kemet was already 2,000 or 3,000 years old before they were birthed. And so all of them are sitting at the footsteps. So if you really want to know the foundation of ancient Kemet, and then many of the other African systems come through Kemet, where they were dispersed. As invaders came into Kemet, the Nile Valley, we dispersed and moved back in. So you got the Ifa system in Yoruba coming in the Nigerian area. You got the Ashanti tree coming into Ghana. You got Mandinga, the Mandinka coming from the Dinka people coming out of Sudan, of Somali. You got the Dogon people, one of the last groups coming out of ancient Kemet, coming into Mali, Senegal. So no matter, and even all the way going down to South Africa, the shamans, priests down there, consider themselves connected to ancient Kemet. So Kemet became so powerful is that I had to learn this language so that I can help liberate our people. And so it gave a tune-up to my African history. My African history needed a major tune-up because it didn't have a source. Kemet gave it the source. Okay, so that's how I got into this Medu Neter.
So do you?
Yes.
And do you teach this to other people? Do you teach others how to speak and how to decipher the Medu Neter?
Surely, I've taught at a couple of universities, but I have an online class. They can take my class online. I have students from South Africa. I got students from Brazil. I got students, they can go on my line, Mfundisi just like my name, like that, all in one, mfundisichahutimus.com. They can go on my website and they can order. We're starting a class up in June. So after June 6th, we'll be starting some. We didn't do the semester during the spring because of the COVID-19 thing, but we're going to do a summer course. So they can take my class online once a week, and we start you from scratch. I have a beginner class, a beginner intermediate, a beginner advanced, and an advanced. I got 5 different classes that I'm teaching.
Will it be live? Or
it's live streaming, just like we are right here. I have my blackboard. I do a PowerPoint, and they can write just like that, so they can see me right on my PowerPoint. So it's a live streaming class, yes. So there's interaction. They can ask me questions.
And how long?
They hand in their homework. They email me their homework, stuff like that. I grade it, send it back. Yes.
And how long did you say this class is?
It's a 13-week class. There's some
13 weeks.
Each semester is 13 weeks. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, approximately 3 months. So each class is like that.
And it starts in June, you said?
Yes.
What date in June? Do you have the actual date?
Yeah, beginner class starts on a Wednesday. So that's, I think, the 15th. I'll tell you exactly. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, so June 10th. It's a Wednesday as the beginner class starts then. June 10th, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So every Wednesday, beginner class every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They can come in, sit in, and learn the Medu Neter.
The payments going to class. That's far. as far as the payments going to class, can they pay at one time, or do they pay as they go along? How does that work?
They have two options. They can just pay at one time. Beginner class is
Mm-hmm.
$400, or they can pay
Mhm.
monthly $100 a month. So they can pay
Okay.
$100 a month for the 4 months, like, or they can just pay $400 a month. If they pay upfront $400, I send them my flashcards. I've created Medu Neter flashcards, biliterals,
Mhm.
triliterals, and stuff like that. So if they pay upfront, they get the flashcards free, which is like $25 a day. So they get that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Other than that, if they just pay them about a month, then they have to just buy their flashcards, as they go along. So we create. So I teach in terms of economics is that we have to develop everything that we need. We can't depend on our enemy to educate us. Okay, that would be like rabbits going to the wolf for an education.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to tell you what the outcome is going to be?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay, so
Exactly.
that's why we're in the situation that we're in now. We're going to
Mhm.
our former enslavers, and he's
Mhm.
not going to teach us to be more intelligent than he is to get free. You know how much
Right.
money they make off of black people? We're their bread basket. Okay, so we
Mhm.
have our own book. We teach from my book, Spiritual Warriors and Healers. So I have my own book that we teach from. We have our own cards. We have our own maps. We have things. I don't know if you can you kind of see here. We have our maps of Africa.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Mhm.
World map of the world. We've created our own with the proper spatial perspective. And then we got map just of the Happy Valley. All in, you see the Medu Neter, the hieroglyph. Oh, I got it upside down. But you see the Medu Neter, the hieroglyphics there?
Yes, I can see it. I can see it. The closer you get. Yes, we see it.
Prophetti, Kemet. See where it says Kemet
Uh-huh.
right there? Yeah, like that.
Kemet, we see Topstead, we see
You see Kosh up
Kush.
the spot? Yeah,
Yeah.
So we create our own calendars, our own maps, and we make it available, so that we can do a good job of educating our people. And then, like I said, we have our own flashcards where they learn the alphabet, the biliterals, triliterals, all of that. So you got to be able to produce what you do. In Ghana, we have a farm, 100-acre farm, where we're getting ready to plant all the herbs that we need, everything that we need, we should be manufacturing and doing. So the idea is I'm trying to teach people this, not by what I say, but also what I do. So when I'm teaching students to be self-sufficient, that means I need to be self-sufficient. So when we're selling crystals and gemstones, we're getting our crystals and gemstones directly from Africa, from people who actually own the caves and the mines. And so we're getting it there, and then we trade with people from South Africa and stuff like that. So we're practicing what we preach. We basically, almost all the products we have, whether it's the books that I've written, or rather, and this is my latest book, Mentuhotep and the Spirit of the Magi. And it's 2 volumes. The second volume comes out this summer. It was supposed to come out for the 4th of July, but BAM's International African Art Festival has been canceled. So I'm probably going to have it come out for the Kemetic New Year, which is in August.
What day is it in August? Do you have the exact date?
Yeah, we're celebrating on the 1st and the 8th. So the 1st, I know I'm doing the weapon put in Cleveland, Ohio. And then in the 8th, we're doing it here in the New York area. Kemetic.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me see what we got right here. A couple of people. Who is this?
Imhotep, Uncle Johnson Neb.
What did he say?
Aru Nefer Kara. He just said Uncle Imhotep, Uncle Johnson Neb. That's how I greeted you when I opened up today.
Okay, he said the same thing.
Yeah, so somebody who's been studying a little bit. Okay.
You've been studying a little bit. Okay. All right. I was looking at that. I said, "What is he talking about?" Okay, I know he's speaking. I know he's speaking some Medu.
Yeah, Medu Neter. Yeah.
Etcher, but I didn't know what he said. All right. So, yes, that's awesome. All right. So, the next, okay, let's get into the African spirituality, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us or go into depth with the act? And we only been off for 15 minutes, so you have some time to
Okay.
talk to us about African spirituality.
Okay.
What exactly is it?
Okay. I want to be really clear. We believe, let me break this down so that people understand where I'm coming from. We believe that there is a creative force, a consciousness that is responsible for the universe. Some people would call it God, Allah, there's all bunches of names for this force. It's not nobody,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a person, it's an energy. I call it a
Right.
consciousness. And just like you have a conscious, and from your mind you can create, like you thought about this show, and then you developed it, and then you made it come into fruition. So when we
Mm-hmm.
say a person is godlike, that means that you have the ability to create from your mind and bring things into physical manifestation. So you understand that, how simple that was? So just like you did this show from a concept,
Mm-hmm.
the creator created the universe from a concept. And so it has these different domains. So there's the mineral domain. First of all, the creator is spirit. That's number one. The creator is spirit. That's just an energy, right? Then from the energy, we have the mineral domain. We have a plant domain. We have an animal domain, a human domain, and they're all connected to the spirit. So people want to know what spirituality is, and they don't understand what spirit is. And there's various types of spirit. So each mineral has a spirit, right? So if I reach back here and I pull a quartz crystal, this quartz crystal can run a battery for your whole life. That's how much energy is in it. You've seen quartz watches,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stuff like that. All they have to do is put pressure on this, and it can absorb the energy from this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vibration. Uh, we do a test when we take a shungite and put it up to a flashlight and put the shungite at the back of the flash, and the flashlight comes on. Energy. Because some people they think this is hocus pocus. You know, they don't believe it. So we have to show them sometime this is energy. So you can feel this energy. This energy can tap into your force field. Each of us have a life force field, right? In the human domain. And so, but we're connected to the animal, the plant, and the mineral domain. And we are so ignorant of the other ones. So crystals, the earth is a mineral. The sun is a mineral. The stars are minerals. You understand? And
yes,
so
I do.
we can tap into this energy. We can feel, for example, when the moon goes through its phases, it affects you, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And all life on this planet. The tides of the ocean is affected. The closer the moon is the high tide. The moon's further away, the low tide. Okay, so as the moon is moving around, we have the high and low tide. So, and it affects all the fluids on your body almost the same way. That's why some people go howling through the street on the full moon. The energy is so high and everything that it affects them a certain way. It affects everybody a little different. Okay. And so I'm just trying to show you how the mineral domain affects us. So my attitude is, you don't have to believe this. I'm not trying to make nobody a believer. You think gravity cares whether you believe it or not?
Right.
Gravity don't care.
Gravity don't care. Right.
It doesn't care whether you care or not. You see what I'm saying? So all the
do its thing, whether you care or not.
Right. It's still operating. We have this lapis lazuli, the blue stone, right? It's operating on your pineal gland, creating wisdom, understanding, activating your pineal gland. That color is called royal blue. Why is it called royal? Because the royalty in ancient Kemet wore this color and put it all around them. When you look at Tutankhamun's mask and everything, you see the blue going through it. That's lapis lazuli stone. So our ancestors are the first crystallologists. They understood the mineral domain and used that. Tutankhamun has a staff or a spear and an axe made from a meteorite. So somebody saw a meteorite coming down, they went and collected the iron, and they made an instrument from it so that he can carry it to annex that power. So our ancestors clearly understood this importance of understanding the mineral domain. And they first tapped into the color domain. Remember, I said the energy, the creator is energy. It's just spirit. It's just energy. So the difference between purple, blue, green is a vibration. That's all. High vibration, red. Then it comes orange, then yellow, gold, green. Then you get to light blue, dark blue, purple, white, back, and black protects everything. And so they have to master. So now when you understand this vibration of the universe, you understand the minerals that all the sun, the moon, the star, constellations. What's your constellation? What this zodiac sign are you? Say it again.
A Sagittarius, say.
Yeah,
December.
December. Okay, my mother was a Sagittarius. What day?
What part of the Sagittarius? I'm at the end.
No, what day?
18th.
18th. Okay, all right. So you're a Sagittarius. So that's Khonsu. Khonsu was a warrior energy. You know, very powerful warrior, a female warrior who was also a herbalist and a healer. And her job was not only to protect the people, but to heal the people. So that's what you're doing on this show. You're trying to educate, heal people, and protect people.
That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do. And I deal with herbs and oils and everything. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you were born to do that. I'm an Aquarius, happy. So I'm in January, the latter part of January, okay? And so Happy is the life force. He's the water bearer, but it's an air sign. So I see things before it happens. I can predict things before it because I can see it. And then I try to tell people, no, man, don't do that. I already saw what's going on. And then they do it and they go, how did Infodisi know? Because I was tapped into the force, the spirit. And so each of those signs, this is all from the mineral domain. So when you're learning numerology, colorology, crystallology, not herbology, but astrology, that's all dealing with the mineral domain. So once you go from the mineral domain, now I'm ready to go to the plant domain. And that's where the herbs come in at. And you become a herbalist. Now, let me say this here. Each of the minerals has spirit to it. So this has a spirit. So this spirit, I'm attaching to my pineal gland. Amethyst, I'm attaching to my pituitary gland. Turquoise or something like that, I'm attaching to my thyroid gland. Rose quartz, I'm attaching to my heart. You see that? So now each one of these attached to a gland in the body and to the heart. Okay. If I have some, let me just take malachite, green stone attached to the heart is green and pink. Two vibrations. One is a loving vibration, like I love you. That's a healing thing. That's green. Pink. Green is I want to protect you and make sure that your immune system is operating at its optimum. So that healing energy becomes the green. So let me say this. Chlorophyll is to plants as melanin is to human beings.
Right.
Chlorophyll takes the sunlight and changes it into energy. Melanin absorbs sunlight and changes it into energy. So carbon is the main energy of the mineral domain. We're carbon-based people.
Right.
Black, 95% of the universe is a blackness. The hydrogen, you have hydrogen and helium is the next. If you look at the periodic chart, so 95% of the universe is this black plasmic energy, and which melanin is attached to. So that's why it's so important. Melanin is worth 10 times the price of gold. And we got black people trying to get rid of their melanin, bleaching their skin and stuff, silly stuff like that. When there's nothing more valuable than melanin in the human domain. Okay, so I'm doing all this. I'm still dealing with spirit, and I don't think I forgot all of this.
I
Spirit.
know,
So
I know you are.
the mineral domain. So now we are herbalists in the plant domain. So the herbs are growing out of the minerals. So the herbs use the minerals as a food source. Everything that can happen to you, there's a herb. If it happens naturally, a herb can deal with it. The only time the herbs cannot heal you, if you create some virus in a test tube by sticking some stuff together, like like they did with Corona and things like that. Now we need some extra help because you went outside of nature to create this.
Right.
But everything that you can naturally happen to you in nature, there's a herb that antidotes you. In fact, when I show people poison ivy, wherever poison ivy is growing, the antidote to poison ivy is also growing right near it. So as a herbalist, you begin to understand nature. In the rainforest, the most poisonous creatures are very bright in color. In fact, the little frog in the Amazon is one of the most poisonous things on it. He's bright red and orange, jumping around, and ain't nobody bothering him. Because all you can do is touch him, and you'd probably be dead in about 15 minutes. So again, we're going with vibrations and color, understanding herbs, understanding colors. Now we just went into the animal domain. Now, let me say this. Hope it won't bust your customers and your fans' heart. But animals were not put here for us to eat. They're not our food source. I want to say this. All animals were here before any human beings. I'll say it again, so make sure nobody misunderstood me. All the animals basically on the planet were here before human beings. So they're not our food source. That most animals, there are some carnivorous animals that eat other animals, but carnivorous animals don't eat animals that eat animals. You understand that? So the lions eat animals that eat vegetation. The wolves, they eat animals that eat vegetation. Okay? So human beings, our teeth, our body, our digestive system is not supposed to consume meat. We're eating it for survival and we can get protein and things from it. But the greatest protein is from vegetables and fruits. The largest, strongest animals on the planet Earth are all vegetarians. The elephant, the largest land animal, is a vegetarian. The gorilla, the strongest land animal like that, is a vegetarian. The whale in the water is the biggest thing. He's basically eats the seaweed and stuff like that, basically. Okay? So I'm just trying to show you so they think in order to have protein and strong, you got to have meat. No, that's actually a poor source of protein. So, and there's a spirit in the animal. And we understood this. This is why the Native Americans had the Wolf Clan, Chief Gray Wolf, because they understood the power of the wolf. They wanted to imitate the wolf. They understand the spirit of the wolf. Chief Running Bear, he understood the power of the bear, and the bear became a sacred totem to them. Okay. Chief Eagle Hawk, they understood the power of the eagle or the power of the hawk. In ancient Kemet, for example, Haru is the great falcon. And so people said, well, come on, do you see they wanted around trying to imitate birds? That's crazy. I said, no, it's the spirit of the bird. The falcon is the fastest creature on the planet Earth. The pelican falcon, can fly 285 miles per hour. Did you hear me myself?
I heard that.
As he's zooming down on his opponent. There's nothing that fast, right? He has the keenest eyesight. He can see 2 miles ahead of himself. When there's a storm, every creature on the planet seeks shelter, except for the falcon. He can fly above the storm. If a fish is in the water, the falcon can go 20 meters under the water to catch the fish in his talons. And he's 99% accurate. But not only that, my sister, when he comes out of the water, he's dry. Aerodynamics. Okay. His feathers water repellent. Okay. So he has to worry about water sagging him down. It can't even stay on him. It just flows off. So now he has no rivalry in the sky. None. So when the rulers of Kemet saw this power, they said, that's the spirit I want to embrace. I want people to realize that I have no rivalry and you can't get away. I got keen eyesight. You can't even jump in the water. I'll get you. There's no way you can get away. All right. So see, but we understand the spirit of the animal. Now, let me make this other statement. If you want to know how to survive in the desert, all you have to do is study the animals that's in the desert, and they will show you how to survive. If you're in the savannah, the great savannas, the grassland, study the animals in there. The great predators are in the savannah. The lion, the leopard, the jaguar, all of them, okay? If you want to know about the tropical rainforest, you study the animals that's in the rainforest. Some of the most deadliest animals are in the rainforest. Study that, then you know how to survive. So if you kill them all, then you don't have nobody to teach you. Remember, you're the last one to come on the scene. Okay, so you need to learn from those who came before you. So who've already mastered this millions of years before we came on the scene. And so now you want to know about the human domain. Well, the human domain is the combination of the mineral, the plant, and the animal. Then it's us. We're able to think outside of the box. Most animals have to rely only on what we call instincts, right? Like birds, the duck don't take flight 101 to go south when the winter comes, right? They don't take a course. They never took Infodesi's course, right? they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. We call that intuition. Now, what's the difference between an animal and a human being? A whole so-called sapien sapien. Homo sapiens sapien just means intelligent ape. That's all that means. Homo sapien means intelligent ape. So we're animals, but because we can think outside of the box, we classify ourselves totally different from the animal domain. But we're an extension of that. But if we don't even know about the animals, then why do you think people are so neurotic? Because they don't know nothing about the planet. They don't know who they are. Everybody you know trying to find themselves. I say, listen, you got to find out who you are because everybody else is taken. Right? Everybody else is taken. So you need to find out who you are. Okay? So now that we have those domains, the animal plant domain again, you have tree spirits. There's the mineral spirits. Then we have clan spirits in the human domain, family spirits. So all of these spirits affect you as a human being. And all of them are connected to the one spirit. We have started out consciousness. That's the one spirit, the creator. And in Medu Neter, we call it Neter, where the word nature comes from. Comes from the word Neter. Neter means the divine, that which is divine. That which is the one consciousness, which everything belongs to. So spirituality now is learning how to use spirit energy in your life every day. See, so we got people walking around here talking about I'm spiritual and don't understand what spirit is. And they're not, see, religion is not spirituality. You're following Jehovah or Jesus or Muhammad. That has nothing to do with spirituality. That's an indoctrination that has you in a particular box. So you have the Islamic box, the Christian box, the Muslim box, right? The Judaic box. You got all these boxes. And you notice each box got a problem with all the other boxes. So there's no spirituality, and that spirituality connects me to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It frees me from being in a box. And it frees me from following just some man or some creative doctrine that somebody made up that might be based upon some truth, but not the truth. So all of them borrow from each other. So I say to myself, well, what people were doing before, we have to say religion has only been in the world for about the last 2,000 years. We built the pyramids with no religion. We built the temples and tombs in Kemet that are still standing with no religion. We redirected the course of the Nile River and we didn't have a religion. We built the first calendars on the planet. We didn't have a religion, but we had spirituality. We were connected to the one. We understood the universe. We understood minerals. We understood plants. We understood animals. We understood nature. So spirituality is into, if you call yourself a spiritual person, having a hamburger and a hot dog and washing it down with a Coke, then you don't even understand what spirituality is. Did you hear me, sister? Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, and you could say that again.
Okay.
And you could say it again too, for those who didn't hear you. Yes.
And you eat a hot dog or hamburger and you wash it down with a Coke, then you miss the whole concept of what spirituality is. It's about being in tune with nature. So you need a plant-based diet. And when you drink, you watch this. See, I make it real simple. It's either life-giving or life-threatening. So when you get ready to drink, you just drink something. You have to look, is that life-giving or life-threatening?
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask yourself, you get ready to eat something. Is it life-giving or life-threatening? If it's life-threatening, you don't eat it. You don't drink it.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple as that. You see, spirituality is the simplest form of being. When you follow all these other doctrines, those are complicated and dangerous. In fact, it'd be hard for you to get corona if you were living spiritually like by Ma'at, the rules of Ma'at of ancient Kemet, because you would be cleanliness is next to what? Godliness. So if you're in tune with the one creator, personal hygiene is going to be important. I'm going to be bathing every day and washing and keeping myself clean, putting certain oils and ointments with certain viruses can't even get to me, right?
Right.
I'm going to be practicing good. I'm not going to be up in somebody's face anyway. You know, every time I come in my house, I take my shoes off. Now we put disinfectant on it, okay? But we go and I wash myself in crystal oils. I anoint myself with the oil. I take the sage and the crystal and I wrap it around, cleaning my aura, right? I light my candle, put the incense in. I do that every time I come in the house. It's a little a little ritual. So I do that, and it had nothing to do with corona. But now that corona, it just shows you how important this is.
How important it is, exactly.
If you live in your life by Ma'at, by the spiritual system, not a religion, a spiritual system that connects you to all of nature, then you will live longevity. You will have longevity and good life. I practice with my students all the time. You know, I'm 3 times their age, most of them, and they can't do half of what I do. And why? It's because what? Life is what? It's mental. So watch it here. In the spiritual domain, we have temples that you should take care of. Your first temple is consciousness, awareness, that there is a creator and you're part of it, and you're part of all of nature. Spiritual. That's your first temple, consciousness. Your second temple is your heart. Your heart connects you to everything. You feel things from your heart. You can say, oh, I felt that, you know. So the heart is a different consciousness from here. The idea is to have them what? Have balance between them.
Yes.
Your third temple is your body. Keep it clean, keep it tuned, keep it anointed, just like you did your consciousness and just like you did your heart. Your fourth temple is your personal house, your personal room. You have your altar, your shrine, where you're the most vulnerable. So you keep it clean and you keep it power packed and energized. Because that's where you come home to charge every day. You're outside, you're in the working world, you're doing whatever you do. You don't want to come home to chaos. You want to come home to filth. You come home because that's your next temple. That's your fourth temple. You take your shoes off, you anoint yourself. You're in your own kingdom now. You're in your fourth temple. And the fifth temple is nature. Natural nature. I'm not talking about the asphalt jungle. I'm talking about the park, the forests, the area where man has not tampered, where natural herbs is growing and woods and trees. So that's why you should go for a walk in the park every day. Go eat your lunch outside in the park. If you're in an inner side job all day or in a cubicle or something like that, go outside and go for a walk where you get melanin, where you get the sunlight. So those are the 5 temples. If you take care of each of those temples, they take care of you. So spiritually, you should be reading because you got to feed the energy. You should be reading. You should be listening to the elders who are connected to the ancestors. Not some, just because you're 70 years old don't make you wise. You could be a 70-year-old fool. Okay, those people who have been studying, who have been doing the work for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, those are the sacred elders who are connected to the ancestors who laid down the foundation. Okay, so, and then your heart, in order to keep the body functioning, the heart, you got to, again, you got to make sure you're drinking the correct fluids, the correct water, energize your water, purify your water, do things of that nature to have your water charged. Make sure you got plenty of juices and things of that nature. And how are you thinking? Are you around people who think similar to you? See, I hear people all the time claim to be spiritual, and every other word come out their mouth is a curse word. So that's low vibration words, and you're trying to tap into a high vibration energy. That's a contradiction. That's not going to happen. So clean up your vibration. Words are power. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. You see what I'm saying? So your words is power. Sometimes
I hear you. I see what you're saying.
And chills can run down your spine. You get the chills. You just one word you hear. And so keep the vibration of your words on a high spiritual plane. So if a person wants to know how they become spiritual, they got to tap into all those. I mean, naturally, you don't have to have knowledge in all of them, but you got to be working towards that. It's a work in progress. There's a saying that says, perfection cannot be reached, but everybody should strive for perfection. Because if you strive for perfection, you will probably catch up to excellence. So you can get excellent. You see, excellent is on the road to perfection. You're always striving for perfection, but you don't get there. But excellence you can get to, and that's what we're trying to get to. So, when you're the grand master in something, you've reached excellent. Nobody's perfect, but you become excellent at something. When a person's an expert, like I tell, when I'm giving advice on a person's career, I say find something that you love to do, that you would do for free, and then become an expert at it. When you become an expert at it, now you get paid for doing what you want to do, what you love to do. But don't stop there. Don't stop at being an expert at it, because you're always moving toward perfection. Now write a book on it. You love to do it. You become an expert at it. You're getting paid. Now you write a book. When you write a book on it, guess what you become? An authority. That's where the word author comes from. Author of the book. You're an authority. So now when I have a group of experts, who do I go to? I go to the authority, the people who got the book. Because the other experts are learning from the books. So I tell my daughter now, she's becoming she's an expert now in crystals. So now she's writing her book so that she can be the authority. Now because there's a whole lot of experts in crystals. What sets you apart from the other experts? You are the authority by the author. So you write yourself a book on your expertise. That
Right.
sets you aside from the other experts. Now you recompensated. Now, when you write a book, that's what you're doing. You're leaving a legacy that will outlive you. So even when your physical body is going, your spirit, going back to spirituality, your spirit is in the book. It's in the word. So people are still keeping you alive, even though physically you are dead. Spiritually, you are still with us. They're making quotes of you every day. They're saying your name. As long as it's being spoken, that vibration is in the air and you're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So spirituality, and African spirituality naturally has to be not only attached to all those things, but then you have to add African culture and language to that. So African spirituality, when I do prayers, when I go, Aminra Nasut Nature, Achinra Nebenank, Chihuti Haru Nebhu, De Enu Ank Uja Seneb Neb. I always do prayers in an African tongue first. Now, if there's some people around, they want to know what I say, I translate it for them. But when I'm talking to the ancestors, my ancient ancestors were not speaking English, so I'll do it in Swahili, Sifaina, Mtuwe Usite. I do it in Swahili, I do it in Madunecha, I do it in Ashanti Tree, do it in Wolof. I do those languages like that, okay? So that my ancestors are embracing me. They're going, do I? So language is important. The communication is important. And you want it. I can't stress enough of surrounding yourself with people who have a similar lifestyle and with similar goals.
Right.
Because we have something called cultural vampires or energy vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Some people always around you, they always lynching, they needy. They always ask you, how do you do this? How do you do that? And something's always wrong with them. Demons is after them or something, something's all, and it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. You got to get away. You got to have some distance between those people.
Right.
You want to help them, but you got to limit yourself to your involvement with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they drain your energy, just like the vampire drains your blood, they drain your energy. And they don't have to be Europeans or Asian. They could be people who look just like you.
Right.
So just be careful of that. Because you know what they see? They see your light, my sister. And they're attracted to the light. The light is the spirit. So sometimes spiritual people, we recognize each other. We can just see each other. You don't know their name. You ain't even seen them before. But because of the light that they're giving off, that's a spiritual person. So people who are needy also see that light. And they coming at you, sister, I need $1. Sister, can you help me? I need. Okay. And you got to have compassion, but you have to understand, how do I maintain myself? I have to make sure that I have enough energy to protect myself and my family and my immediate circle. It's like, I always give this scenario. When you're on the airplane, the airline stewardess will come up to you and say, in case of an emergency, the oxygen mask will fall. Put your mask on first before you try to help anybody else. Women, children, disabled, put your mask on first. I'm trying to say right now, Sister Fari, this is an emergency. African people's situation in America is at a critical state, health-wise, mental-wise, and physical. We're dying at a rate faster than everybody else on the planet. When we used to be the most long-lived, now we have the shortest lifespan. That means that we're doing something wrong. Most of us are indoctrinated in somebody else's religious system, which doesn't have the African center base. So that means you're out of your center. That means your own personal immune system is not working. you adopted the enemy's immune system to help protect you from the enemy's disease. No, that doesn't work. So we got to change that. This is an emergency we're in. We're sick, we're mentally retarded, and we're physically abused. And Dr. Clark told us we have no friends in the world. The Asians, the Chinese are coming into Africa. They're not our friends. The Jews are coming in. They're not our friends.
Mm-hmm.
Europeans are coming in. They're not our friends. The Russians are coming. They're not our friends. We have to understand that we are the ones we've been waiting for. So it's important for us to come together, sister. So I'm so glad you invited me on here, because this is part of a healing. This is part of us coming together and dealing with what needs to be doing. We're at war. I know people don't want to acknowledge that, but we're at war, my sister. And let me say this. When you're at war and you don't know you're at war, what's the chances of you winning?
None. There's none. No chance.
None. So I need to wake people up. You're at war. That doesn't mean go out and physically get somebody. It means to what? To take care of yourself and your family first. Just the black dollar alone could liberate us. If we just spent our money with black people, we would create 1 million millionaires in the next year. Everybody else, as soon as the Arabs come to America, they want to know where the black people live. When the Jews come here, they want to know where the black people, everybody, even foreigners, I don't care where, as soon as they come, they want to know where black people is, because they know we spend our money indiscriminately with everybody. They don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're going to make their money off of us. They open up a cleaners, they want to be near African people. They open up a dry cleaners or a laundromat, they want to be near African people. A little mom and pop store on the corner. Where I live here in Harlem, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of the 4 corners, there's a little bodega, all owned by Arabs. I don't shop in any of them stores. They don't give anything back to the community. In fact, you go in there and get disrespected.
Yeah.
So why do you give your money where you're being disrespected? All I'm trying to do is tell black people to wake up. And this ain't hating on nobody. This is loving African people.
Mm-hmm.
This is loving African people. So, my sister, you have another question for me.
I do. Your answers, your feedback. I need what the people need to hear, everything, although, a lot of what you say is how we live in this household, but it's great to hear it again, just to have it, in my mind, just a reminder, like, keep up what you're doing. And then for the people who are listening, like, this man knows what he's talking about. And I told you all that before we even went live. I've been talking about, Mifudisci. I've been telling y'all about he knows what he's talking about, and I really don't know. But what I wanted to ask you, there was a couple of questions I did have that I wanted to ask you. During your journey, was it rough for you? Was the whole process a rough process, or was it smooth sailing for you? How did that go?
No. You remember I just talked a little bit about how I advise people, find out what you love, find out what you like to do, what you would do for free, but now you're getting paid for it. But that's the only thing I pursued. Since the time I was 14, I've been on this journey. So at 14, I was a part of the Organization of Afro-American Unity under El Haj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X. I was there in the organization when he was assassinated. Then Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis introduced me to a person, Balozi Harvey, who was head of the African World Trade Center. He introduced me to Mfundisi Maasi. You become bodyguards for Mamu Emiri Baraka, who was Leroy Jones at the time. We got involved in electing the first black mayor, Mayor Gibson of Newark, New Jersey. So when I went to college, I had all that in my head. I was in African studies. I was the first involved in the beginning of the African studies movement in the 60s. I was all part of that.
The 60s, wow.
Right. So I was all a part of that. When the Black Panther Party started, I was there. I was, all a part of that. I was in grad school and all of that when that was going on in the early 70s, So my whole life has been around this struggle with African people. How do we become better? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So no, it was a natural progression. And remember I said about the light, if you follow the light, you can see people who got the light. And you got to be able to take
Yes.
advantage of it. And that's what I was. Malcolm had the light. I took advantage of that. Ossie Davidson, Ruby D had the light. They showed me another light. I went to that. Then they showed me another light. I followed that light until I began to get a light. Okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
followed other people's light until I had enough energy to create my own light. Okay. And
Right.
during that process, I got into the martial arts at 14 years old. I got into the martial arts. So I've been teaching the martial arts for over 50 years.
Wow.
Not in it. I've been teaching it for over 50 years, the martial arts. Okay. So I just wanted to show you how, and it was a natural progression. I just followed the light. I happened to being at the right place is not the issue. Being at the right place and taking advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see these masters, what do they say? They say when the student is ready, the master will appear.
Mm-hmm.
The key is the student really ready? Sometimes we say we want the master, but we haven't prepared ourselves to accept the teachings of the masters. So I spent each time preparing myself to sit at the feet of the masters at that time until I became a master. Okay. So that's what you got to do. You got to take advantage of that. I remember when I first got into Kung Fu, I was working at this job as a photographer, and I'm taking picture of the daycare center, and I see these guys practicing this martial arts. I'm like, what y'all doing? They said, oh, Shaolin Kung Fu. I says, how much is it cost? It says $10 a month. $10 a month. Where do I sign up at? This is 1970. Where do I sign up at? They say you come here Tuesday and Thursday. I joined the class just like that. I was able to go through the class in 8 months. I was the fastest student ever to get a black belt. 8 months in the system, I was a black belt. After after 6 months, one of my teachers kicked me out of the class and sent me to their teacher's class because I broke my teacher's ribs. So they put me out of the class and they didn't go to their teacher's class. And in 8 months, I became a black belt. Within 3 years, I was a 3rd degree black belt, teaching my own system. My own, like that. So you got to follow, you got to sit at the feet of the masters. You got to follow them. And then you learn what they learn. I have a quote saying, walk in the footprints of the great masters, but at some point, you have to create your own footprints.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one goes into the kingdom of heaven with you. You go in by yourself. You better create your own footprints at some point. So you sit at the feet of the masters until you're able to walk and carry that load. And you create your own footsteps into heaven. Okay, hopefully that meant something to some people out there. They think that they can just walk in the master's footsteps all the way to heaven. No, at some point, you have to become the master. You have to to absorb knowledge and not to be able to give it to somebody or to teach it. Why do you got it? So that has to happen. So my sister, just to answer that question, no, I just happen to be really honored. I listened. I was a good listener. I followed my instructors. I followed the teachers. I mastered what they taught until I became an author, an authority on that. I'm luckily I got 5 books out, and I have a new book coming out this summer. It's actually the sequel to my Menchu Hotep book that I the sequel to this book. So this is in 2 volumes. This is the first volume. So volume 2 will come out this summer. I have 2 books of poetry, a book called Kupagani and Gumi, Spiritual Warriors Are Healers, and Menchu Hotep. So 2 books of poetry. Mm-hmm.
I love poetry. I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, you're going to have to check some of my poems out.
Definitely.
I always do a poem. Usually when I do a lecture, I always start out with a poem. I tell people,
I love poetry.
Think unlimited. There is nothing you can't do. Think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited. What we can do as a people is unlimited if you think that way. A poem is the naked advice of the heart. Malcolm was a poem Susant was a poem. Zinga was a poem. Garvey was a poem. And you are poems if only you would think intelligent. There is nothing you can't do. Think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited. What we can do as a people is unlimited if you think that way. We are scuffling against logic where there is no logic at all. Trying to survive in a money world with no money. Not understanding that our wealth is our consciousness. Even Stevie Wonder could see that all ages was trying to tell us was to think limited. There is nothing we can't do. And you're afraid to destroy the oppressor because you have become so much like the oppressor, you're afraid to destroy yourselves. Think intelligent. There is nothing you can't do. Think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited, think unlimited. What we can do as a people is unlimited if you think that way.
That's amazing. I love it. Oh, that was more spoken word. I love it. Gosh, and where can we get these? Where can we get your books at? I seen your that particular book. I think that you raised up on your website, but where can we find the rest of your work at?
Yes, these two can be purchased on the website, right? The other book, Kupagani and Gumi, they got to write directly to me at my email, like mfundisi@gmail.com, because they're not on Barnes and Noble and like that. They got to go, my book of poetry and stuff like that. They got to buy directly from me. I autograph it and give it to them personally. So just mfundisi@gmail.com. My other books, the novels and my book of spirituality, they can buy Amazon.com or go on my website.
All right, now, you know what? A little while ago, you were showing us the lapis lazuli. You spoke about the rose quartz. You spoke about what else? The amethyst.
Right.
Yes, you spoke about certain crystals. Can you go crystal healing for us real quick?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people who don't really believe in the power of crystals.
That's why I made that statement that like gravity don't care whether you believe it or not.
Right.
The energy don't care. The energy is there. So let me start out by saying each color, remember I said was a certain vibration, and that vibration lets off a certain energy. Okay. So when we have something called the chakra, that's Sanskrit, we call it Sekam Shin Ra, but the Asians call it the chakra, and those are energy points in the body. So you got 7 major energy points. Okay. You have your pituitary gland, your pineal gland, your thyroid gland, your heart, your solar plex, your sacral, and your reproductive area. So those are your 7 major points. There's other points in the African system that we use, but those are the major ones that people do in the chakra system. Each one is a different color. So you go from purple to dark blue to light blue, green and pink, yellow or gold, orange, the sacral, and then red, the reproduction. And then we have to do black and clear quartz at both ends to protect the whole auric field. Black protects, like I have something here, this is black stone, this is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline protects and keeps all negative vibrations away. It puts it at check. Or you can be able to feel negativity when it's coming before it even gets to you. Okay, so big pieces like this can be placed around the house. You can carry as a necklace. Like, let me show you. See that big piece there? That's a real big piece of black tourmaline. That just checking all negative energy. So I'm just checking it, just keeping it at bay. But see, it also checks your negative energy. We're always worrying about other people's negative. Remember, energy attracts itself. So if you got negative stuff always coming to you, that means you got some issues yourself that you need to be dealing with. See, people don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with the negative stuff coming at them, but they don't realize the stuff that you're attracting this negative energy. So you need to get yourself some black tourmaline, some shungite, some black onyx. Usually I have some onyx on. You need to protect yourself from like that there, you know. So now those are the 7 points. So you want crystals to go with that. So I'll give you just a crystal example of some crystals for each one. So you got amethyst. First, you want a clear quartz. So that's number one. Get yourself a clear quartz. That's also for clarity of focus and thought. Clarity of focus and thought. In fact, I usually always have with me, you see that? Can you see that?
Yes.
It's a
Right
crystal
there.
ball, a small crystal ball. When somebody says something really profound, guess what you say? Oh, that was crystal clear. You see where it
Mm-hmm.
comes from? Symptomatically, I'm showing you how we come up with these words. That was crystal clear. It comes from understanding the mineral domain, the crystal domain. Okay, so you go from there to the purple stone, which is amethyst, right? Then you go to go here, and we can use. I just happen to have a piece of turquoise right here, turquoise, and turquoise is one of the most used stones on the planet Earth. All cultures, the Native Americans, if you go to Navajo, the Shai, the Hopi, the Cherokee, they all make their jewelry out of what? Turquoise. Because
Mm-hmm.
not only is it communications, it connects you to your ancestors. So all those indigenous people keep a close communication with their ancestors. So that's what turquoise does. So then you go, even in ancient Kemet, turquoise was used, okay?
Turquoise. Yes.
Stones were used in ancient Kemet. Then you go to the solar plexus. That's gold for your, and this could be with prosperity and stuff. So you go with things like citrine, or citrine is a great, or we can go with
I have that right here.
pyrite. Yeah, there's a citrine right there. That's good. That's your
Yeah.
solar plexus. That's energy, prosperity, abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an energy port right in the center. You want prosperity coming to you. So that's the yellow, orange, the yellow and gold right there. Okay, even your tiger's eye, which is protection and energy. Then you go with
Protection and
your,
energy. Yes.
then you go with your sacral. That's your midsection. All your
Mm-hmm.
internal organs are there. That's orange. So that would
Mm-hmm.
be things like carnelian, the carnelian stone. I don't know if I can reach. I couldn't reach a stone right here, but this is the carnelian stone. It's a necklace made from the orange stone. That's carnelian. Carnelian is also not only protecting your internal, but it deals with intuition. Intuition
Mm.
is just a fancy word. What did I say? Birds and animals have instincts, right? In,
Yes.
intuition is instinct. Because we think we're human beings, we think we're not animals. We had to come up with a different word for the same thing. Intuition means that I know without somebody telling me. I know because I got it directly from the Creator. It's right in my DNA, it's in my mind. No one taught me, I know it. That's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same as instinct. All animals have it. We're animals. We just call our stuff something. Instead of calling it instinct, we call it intuition. But intuition and instincts are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know without somebody teaching you or telling you, because you got downloaded directly from the Creator. Okay. Then that's orange. Okay. Now you ever heard somebody say, I had a gut feeling about that?
Of
You ever heard
course.
somebody say that?
Mm-hmm.
I felt that in my gut. That's the intuition. I felt that in my gut. I knew I
Mm-hmm.
should have did that. And most people don't listen to themselves, right? How many times have you heard
Right.
somebody say, I knew I should have did that. Something told me to do that and you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you're in the third grade, your intuition is beaten out of you.
Mm.
By the third grade. When you're in the first grade, second grade, kindergarten, you talking to yourself, you talking to the Creator, you doing all, and then somebody say, don't do that. No, stop doing that. Don't do that. No, don't listen to that. So that voice inside of you, you've been told not to listen to anymore. So by the time you're third grade, you're totally messed up. That's why in the third grade, They know how many prisons to make. They know how many reform schools to put up because they already got your number by the 3rd grade. They know who's going to jail versus who's going to Yale by the 3rd grade. So that's where that, so that's why homeschooling is so important. And that's why, the whole spiritual system is so important. You got to have kids be in touch with nature, understanding the animal domain, understanding the plants, understanding the minerals. They will eat this up. You teach kids in the kindergarten, they'll be able to tell you every stone that they can see. But you got to teach it to them. No child is born a genius. He might have the aptitude to be a genius, but no child is born a genius. He has to be taught to be a genius. He has to be exposed with the information that allows him to be a genius. Okay, so I need to, if there's parents listening there, you're responsible for your child's education. The school is secondary. You are the one that needs to be taking them to the museum. You're the one that needs taking them to the forest and to the parks. You're the ones that got to expose them to different libraries. You're the one that has to expose them to different cities and stuff like that. You're the one. By the time my kids was 10, I already took them to Egypt. They were already in the pyramids at 8 and 10 years old. I remember my son was only 8, and you know how the teacher makes you do a report on what did you do during the summer? Right? So I think my son is about in the 3rd grade. He's about 8 years old. So they says, Hassan, what did you do this summer? He says, oh man, I was on top of the Haru Emaketi, the Great Sphinx. I was inside of the pyramid. I was climbing through. They was like, get out of here. Ain't nobody believe him. I was floating down the Nile. Even the teacher thought he was lying. I came in because I was the guest speaker at the school, and I did an assembly for them. And after the assembly, I came to my son's school, his class, and I brought our photo album. And they was like, oh my God, Hassan really went. He actually was in the pyramids. I had the pictures and everything, So you got to expose your kids. You are responsible for that. You got to take them on those field trips. You got to teach them how to cook. You got to teach them how to clean. You got to teach them responsibility. That's not the school's job.
Right.
The school is secondary. So parents, I really need to, like that. Homeschooling, or get your child in an African-centered school where they're teaching your children to be the best that they can be. Remember, you're striving for perfection. You might not reach it, but you will reach excellence. So you want your children to be excellent. My sister, I hope that kind of answered that next question there. Yeah.
Yes, of course it did. Of course it did. All right. So of course it did. And I know my babies are watching this right now. So, so I had certain questions, so my children can hear, and the nephews and little cousins and my friends' children and so forth that maybe tuning in with them and so forth. So yeah, those are important questions, and you definitely hit it right on the nail. So, another question I wanted to ask you, before we end the show, right? It's about the Mayat Kemet spiritual system of consciousness. Tell us about that whole thing of Heru consciousness.
What I've been talking about all day has been that.
That's been that.
Yes. See, so Ma'at is a necher, means a principle in ancient Kemet. Ma'at is the mate of Jehuti. Now I need to say this. All these are concepts. They are spiritual laws and concepts. So Ma'at is a series of law. Ma'at is symbolic of a feminine energy, right? So it's usually depicted by a beautiful African woman with an ostrich feather in her head.
Right.
And the ostrich feather is symbolic of perfect symmetry. You take the ostrich feather, ball it up, it'll spring right back. Perfect symmetry, okay? So the universe is operating through Ma'at. Ma'at is truth, justice, righteous, harmonious balance, reciprocity, right order, right concepts, okay? That's Ma'at. There's 42 laws of Ma'at, where the 10 Commandments comes from, where the Harabi codes come from, where they get thou shalt not kill. But in ancient Kemet, it says thou shalt not take a life without a just cause or just reason. Okay. Thou shalt not take someone else's property. Thou shalt not harm or even cause someone else to cry. I should not harm their spirit or their soul. I will not steal from someone. I will not take sacred offerings from the shrine of the temple. I will help feed the hungry. I will take care of the sick, the meek. These are laws of Ma'at. And so people live their life, and there's famous 42 laws. And we sell the poster that has the 42 laws on it. And then we even have a poster of the 77 laws that the 42 come from. So sometimes some of them are redundant. Like they'll say, thou shalt not commit adultery, or thou shalt not pollute thyself. Thou shalt not sleep with another man's wife, and a wife should not sleep with another man's husband. Those type of things are on those. It's a way of living. It's a value system. See, we've abandoned that for the 10 Commandments. So instead of having these 42, that's why we have so much sexual confusion in the world. We're following somebody else's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It already tells you no man should sleep with another man. That's actually a commandment in the 42 laws of Ma'at. Thou shalt not pollute thyself. You shouldn't consume stuff that's going to pollute you. These are laws in the Ma'at. So if you're following Ma'at, truth, justice, righteous, harmonious balance, reciprocity, right order, right concepts, okay, then you're going to have a life of spirituality. So that's ancient Kemet. So we have Jehuti, like my first name is Jehutimus. Mfundishi is the title, great grandmaster, but Jehutimus is one who was articulate of thought, speech, writing, and action. And I try to live like that. Hopefully I'm speaking the truth. So hopefully I'm articulate enough so people can understand me. Malcolm used to tell us, you're not deep unless you can break it down so that a 5-year-old can understand you. So when I lecture at a university, I give you enough fuel for the PhD candidates, but I'm also, if they got a 5-year-old son in the audience, I'm talking to them too. Okay, so that's the way I try to lecture. I try to break it down to its least common denominator. I try not to use prodigious words to try to show you how intellectual, petite I am. I want you to understand the basic foundations of what we're talking about. So living a life of Ma'at is based upon that concept, spirituality. That's what that is. Haru is higher consciousness. So Haru consciousness is that higher consciousness. That means, remember I said speak words that are vibrating on a high level. Don't use curse words. Mm-hmm. Try to be, keep your frequency high. So Haru consciousness will be one who lives his life like the great falcon.
Mm.
The great falcon, remember, has no rival. He is powerful. You don't go around beating nobody up, but ain't nobody going to jump on you. I've had almost no fights in my life. I'm a 10th degree grandmaster in Kupagani and Gumi, 8th degree in Shaolin Kung Fu. I've never had to beat somebody up. It's something about the nature. For some reason, people know I'm not the one to be messing with. Okay, so you don't have to carry a big stick because your stick is here. Somehow the way you walk, your light, your demeanor, people know, okay, I can mess around with all these people, but let me leave that guy alone. Okay, so you got to you carry yourself with respect, but you're humble. So you give respect to everybody, but people know that Impetus is not going to be taking no mess. Okay, so that's all part of Ma'at too. Ma'at, there's something called reciprocity. Reciprocity means when something is done wrong, you correct it. Ain't no turn the other cheek in the Kemetic spiritual system. No, if you accidentally hit one cheek, I'm like, all right, don't do that again, or there'll be consequences. Okay, so there's consequences that you might not want to deal with. Okay, so no turning the cheek, no love thy enemy. That's crazy.
Right, that is craziness.
Only your enemy would tell you to love thy enemy. That's like telling the lamb Go love the wolf. Well, next time you see him, just lick him and show your appreciation. You're gonna be lamb chops, okay? And that's what African people are. We're lamb chops to the Western society. Nobody embraces their enemy. Go love Corona. It's killing people. So go out and try to find it and kiss it and love it. No, that's crazy. You protect yourself from it. See, so I'm trying to be real logical here. See, African people embracing your enemy is crazy. Now, don't confuse this with hate. This is about Black love. And I always tell people, if they think that I got problems with white people, I say no. Some of my friends have white friends. Some people will get that in the morning. Some of my best friends have friends who have white friends. So I don't have a problem with that. Okay. Okay, but living a higher consciousness, Haru consciousness. Okay, Haruka, I know I told her I was in University of Ghana, and I said that. I said, yeah, some of my best friends have friends who have white friends. And all the students kind of looked around like, what's he talking about? I was like, okay, some of y'all will get that in the morning. And then when I was getting ready to leave, one guy started buffing that left. He said, oh, now I know what you're talking about. It took him an hour to catch up to what I was talking about. Okay. All right, but you have to, and every day, you see, what makes a person dynamic is not one or two actions. It's what they do every day. The little bit they do every day is what makes somebody dynamic and great. And if you perfected anything, I tell people the same thing that took you, if you were a master knitter, the same energy you put into being a master knitter is the same thing somebody else is going to master if they're a master scholar or a master architect. They got to put that same type of energy. There's a formula. And it's what you do each and every day. Consistency has to be there. How consistent are you? You know, so consistency. Even a soft water can wear away a hard rock with consistency. Drip, 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 drip. And finally, the hard rock is worn away. Look at the Grand Canyon. You ever been to the Grand Canyon? You've seen pictures of the Grand Canyon. You see this big rift, this big valley in the middle of the mountains. Water did that. Consistency, just constantly flowing. Bruce Lee would say, be water, my friend, be water. Water takes on the shape of the container in which it occupies. No resistance. And water seeks its own level. So a little philosophy I shoot up in there, you know. So
water is life.
Yeah. So just to be consistent, people, follow the values of ancient Kemet. Read all you can, but I always tell people, learn the Medu Neter. Because now you're not taking somebody else's word for it. I don't want you to just take Infodisi's word for it. I don't want you to take my teacher's word for it. I want you, all we are is guides. We're guides to direct you to the truth. You have to grasp the truth yourself to really know it. So, and I tell people, watch this here. If you were a Jewish rabbi, you have to know Hebrew. If you were a Catholic priest, you have to know Latin. If you're a Islamic imam, you have to know Arabic. So how are you going to be a Kemetic priest and you don't know Medu Neter from Kemet? All you know is English or French or German. No, you have to learn Medu Neter so that you can go to the source. So hopefully that made sense. So that's why people want to know, they want to master the Kemet spiritual system and don't want to learn no Kemet words. They don't want to learn how to read Neter. They don't want to learn. And it's a sacred language. And it will empower you. When you can read the Medu Neter, it prepares you for every discipline that exists in a college or university. I can talk with a professor in every department and not only blow them away, but match them point for point. I don't care if they're in anthropology, archaeology, mathematics, science, philosophy, sociology. Madhu Necha is the core of where all that's coming out of.
Hmm. This is amazing. I'm so amazed by your intellect and all the knowledge you have. It's just I just like sitting back listening. I normally have a ton of questions that I ask people, but I couldn't ask. Like I just wanted to learn. You know, the same thing when I just wanted to learn and I wanted you to just teach, you know, without me interfering and asking a whole bunch of questions. Just teach us because we're listening, you know. I literally normally have at least 15 questions to ask people that come on my show. And I only asked you 4. Only asked you 4.
I appreciate that. You allowing me to be able to voice a word that will help people during this time. And people, we're living at a
It's
time.
needed.
Remember, I said we're at war. That's number one. We're at war, and we're at a time where African people has to be able to take control of everything they need. So you need to, if you got a yard, don't be planting no grass. You need to be planting some vegetables and stuff in your yard. In the backyard, put some trees up in there, trees and stuff like that. Get some herbs growing. And you can grow your, if you don't have a yard, you can grow your herbs in the kitchen. You can grow them at the windowsill. You
Sure
just get
can.
little trays. You can have all your wheatgrass. You can do all your little herbs inside. At Nation, you can grow all of that stuff inside your house. So start learning herbs. That's the plant domain, right? Go back, start learning your crystals. Have your crystals with you. They should be all around the house. You realize I didn't just put these crystals here for this show. I got them here. This is they're all around me. If you was in this room here, you would see every room. You would just see crystals and books, crystals and books. Every place you see, you got to surround yourself with the knowledge, with the information. Okay, so you're at war, so you need to. Now, this is something my student asked me. He says, Mfudisi, you talk about peace and harmony and being one with the universe, but you teaching us how to fight and break stuff and weapons and all of this here. I says, listen, it's best to be a warrior in the garden when a war breaks out as opposed to being a farmer. If you're only a farmer in the war, you're in bad shape. But if you're a warrior who's a farmer, now you're prepared to deal with whatever happens. Okay, so you still stay in peace, still stay with Ma'at, still live a life of harmony, but you're prepared. I tell people, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. The peaceful, mild-mannered person is a warrior. But I'm a spiritual warrior. So all of my warrior action is to maintain spirit and harmony. The great sages used to have to walk through the rainforest by themselves. They had to walk where wild animals were. And you had to be able to walk with no fear. So all of those great prophets and sages were great martial artists also. Okay, so I just want to make myself clear. So it's not like a contradiction, you know, they flow with each other. In fact, let me say this here. The stronger and more powerful you are is the gentlest you can be. It allows you to be more gentle. With great strength, it's great ease and great calm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this whole discussion and for coming on to the show today. I really genuinely appreciate your presence and your energy tonight. I do.
It's been my.
It just you just made me smile. I just been smiling the whole time, like, yeah, yep, that, yep.
Is this recorded? Well, baby, be able to get a recording of this? Did you record this?
I definitely can send you a recording. I definitely can.
Okay.
I'll send you the recording. I'll send it to you tonight.
Oh, okay. Whenever, yes. But I appreciate this.
I
Okay.
definitely will. No
But,
problem. No problem.
it's been an honor. So, Brother Fari, Sister Fari, thank
It's
you
okay.
for allowing me to share with the people. And if people have questions, they can always send them to me. You know, they can get me at, again, Facebook. Facebook is Mfundisi Jehutimus, just like my name here, Mfundisi Jehutimus on Facebook. And my email is mfundisijehutimus@gmail.com. And my website, mfundisijehutimus.com. So I make it real simple. They just use my name and they can contact me on Facebook, website, or any of those. I don't put the phone number out.
Yes, definitely.
I got my sister, this is not to bash anybody. Sometimes I get 30, 40 phone calls a day and people don't have nothing to say. Is this Mfundisi? Hi, I'm calling from Mississippi, bro. I love you, and I appreciate that, but text me that, just text me, text me that information. So anybody out in the audience, if you just get my phone number, just don't start calling me at all crazy hours. Text me and I'll try to get back to you, or email me, and I will definitely try to answer your questions and things if I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And again, it was great having you on, and I look forward to having you on again, soon.
All right. So I tell you to everybody,
Hopefully. Soon, hopefully.
And
you take care. Take care.
Neb, Dua Netcha, Aha 2.
And that meant?
Aha 2, protect yourself. Live long, be prosperous, have good health, and protect yourself. We're at a time where the coronavirus is taking people out. Don't do nothing silly. Live by Ma'at, truth, justice, righteous, harmonious balance.
All right. And yes, this is on Facebook and YouTube. Everyone that's commenting on YouTube, that means it's on YouTube. And it is also on Facebook. You can see it on FariX, facebook.com/FariX. So I am FariX, that is. I apologize. Or you can just search FariX and you'll find the video on Facebook. So thank you all for tuning in, for leaving your feedback. Make sure y'all go back and play it back if you need to. Share it with your friends and your family. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, so it can get passed along for everyone to get this knowledge. So again, thank you, and I will see you soon. And I'll be texting you. I'll be calling you soon. Okay. All right, peace, y'all.
It's the scoop with FariX. Go off.